Hey there everyone, Luke here, and yes, we're finally here at the last review of 2025. Yes, this is literally going up on the last day of 2025, and I deliberately waited until this day, because what better way to go out with a Nemu chapter. Yeah, this chapter focuses primarily on Nemu and Wolf and Kago. So yeah, I was waiting for this moment, and also hope you guys had a great holidays. I know I did. I got pretty much everything that I wanted to, but yeah, for now, let's just dive right into the chapter. So this is chapter 230, titled pairing planning, and this is where I kind of like got the idea of like, okay, yeah, these are the pairings that are gonna go. I pretty much got them all spot on. There was one that I was kind of off slightly, but pretty much got it down to the spot on who's gonna go with who. Like I said, obviously Kago's gonna go with Nemu because they have the most connection with each other, and obviously Nico's gonna go with Mori because again have the most connection. So anyway, we'll get into that later on in the chapter, but for now, the chapter starts off with a few hours earlier while Morihito and Shikimi were negotiating in the food court. We get to find out what the guys were actually getting up to whilst all that was going on, as we have Wolf who's just come out and is just like shoving down a lot of food, which yeah, you really which again, good to get his strength up, but like kind of a bit rude here that they're actually trying to plan out something and he's just there shoving down food. But yeah, this is where Wolf actually gives some insight into what I was suspecting or what was going to go on in the last few chapters with Kokoya, where he says like, hey, do you guys honestly believe, or do you really honestly believe that Morihito will actually believe this old guy that you've just captured, like literally with no situation whatsoever? Do you actually honestly believe that this is actually going to be the case and he's actually going to be telling us the truth? Because for you know, it sure as hell could be a trap, and what the reason do we have to actually believe this guy? And again, I do like that Wolf actually gave like what I was. It's like the author knew like the audience are gonna like suspect that this is an obvious trap, so we're gonna give like these conversations out for other characters like, hey, let's be real here, this could actually be a trap. And this is where Nico's like, yeah, I wonder about that too. Like, yeah, like it does seem like a little bit suspicious as well. Before we have Mirio says like, well, according to Morihito, he had the look of a man telling the truth. And this is where Wolf like just snaps like, he's just got the look of telling the truth. Like, how much is that proof now? Like, he could be lying through his teeth, but no, he's got the look of a guy telling the truth. He's obviously telling the truth. Like, no, that's not enough for Wolf. And it's like, and he's just getting really angry. Like, seriously, are we actually sure about that? Before they go on and say like they must resonate with each other, one step parent to another. So basically, Wolf is not having it. Like, hey, Morihito being swayed by emotions. Yeah, that is never actually gonna fly. And yeah, despite seeming super logical, Mori falls for scans pretty easily. And yeah, this is obviously like red flags of like, this is obviously gonna backfire you guys away. So be cautious about everything this guy actually says. So Wolf continues to go on and say, yeah, I don't trust that old man. If he wants to spy, we'll be getting lured into a trap that will basically destroy us all. And again, love that Wolf is like being the actual sensible one in this situation. Like, some guy who was our enemy is now wanting to turn against the enemies. Like, yeah, like red flags for him going up there. As Nico says, like, I want to believe him, and we don't actually get the ending of her situation there. But I reckon she's going to be like, yeah, I wanted to believe her, I really do. But like, I believe Wolf does have a good point here. Like, we really should be not taking his word at face value. Before we have Mirio saying like, we had Mr. Kokurio take Snowman honest pills to see if he was lying or not, and this is where we get like the so-called truth from Kokurio, that he regrets his life choices so much. Hibana is too precious to him, and that he doesn't want to die. So basically, they just use the truth serum on him. Before Nico confirms, then that was the truth. But yeah. I'm still going to go on the fence that Wolf still should be, like, being a bit cautious here of, like, yeah, because Truth Serum can be, like, manipulated in some ways, and who's to say that it wasn't manipulated in this situation, but, yeah, Wolf at this point is just backing off, like, okay, fine, whatever. You gave the Truth Serum to him, so he might obviously be telling the truth here. So that's why the infiltration plan, they aren't going to come up at us before they split that bone, are they? That would be before they say no. That unbelievable. That would be unbelievable. So this is where Wolf takes off a minute. Now, when they say they aren't going to come at us before they split that bone, are they? That would be unbelievable. That would be unlikely. Unlikely, but not impossible. Like, for all we know, they could actually split that bone before they actually come after each other, and this could actually be like adding layers upon layers upon layers on this trap just to cover all their bases so that this ritual does actually go off on one, go off as the warlocks actually want it to go ahead with their plan. Yeah, those are the words I was trying to get out here. So yeah, we have Wolf going over and saying to obviously Nemu that, so yeah, it seems the big day is coming up. Morihito thinks we can do it without fighting, but I don't see it going that smoothly. If and when a fight does happen, it's my job to be on the front line. Worst case scenario, I'll never come back alive. So this is why I'm here now, Nemu. I need to know, like, can I ask for a kind of response then? Of what is actually going to happen, like what are your actual feelings to what my question was on that day. So he's basically asking, like, hey, I laid out my feelings, I may not come back alive, I need to know exactly what you think of me right now. But before we get into the conversation between Wolf and Nemu, and Wolf finding out, like, hey, what Nemu's response is going in, we cut over back to the house where we have Ban and Khan and, is it Miru? No, Miru's not actually playing the game. It's just Ban and Khan playing a game. I don't really know, like, what this game actually meant to be. Is it meant to be Yahtzee? Is this what it's at? Because they say, right, when I roll sixes, how can you score better? Like, so yeah, is this meant to be like a parody of Yahtzee? This game that they have going on here. But as they're doing the game, and as Brian is, like, clearly getting the upper hand here, we have Miru going, what are you two doing? This better not be gambling. Like, basically trying to be like the father of the group now that Morihito's not there, and, like, just keeping the kids in line. Like, hey, you guys, you better not be gambling because we can't have that happening right now. We're meant to be planning our strategy for the fate of the world here, and all you guys doing are gambling. But yeah, they go. Brian says, like, oh, this is not gambling. It's our own original currency. I really don't get, like, what this game is that they're actually trying to play, and it just seems like it's just here to, like, add a bit of comedy to a very serious moment between Nemu and Wolf. So we're just gonna try and get through this middle section as quickly as possible. So yeah, the biggest point that we get to take out of here is that when Khan says, all my money practically flew out of my wallet, and Brian thinks this is funny when Khan can't actually fly himself before. This is when she says, like, she's saying it in a joking way, like, ha ha ha, when you can't fly yourself, and then this is when Khan's just there, like, sitting there, like, huh? As in, like, no, she's saying the bleeding obvious here. Before she goes on and says, like, Tigers were able to fly back in the day, but you can't. All the other guys got born with their kinds of ancient powers because they're destined to play Nico or whatever. Morito's got the ancient ogre strength. Keigo can transform. Mirio can drain people's energy. All of them are just as powerful as the monsters of yore, except for the actual Tengo. If a Tengo can't fly, then it's just a big nosed brat here. Before we have Khan getting on Ban's back, just going out of horns and being like, special technique, bamboo shot digging. So basically being like, oh, you're gonna diss me for it because I can't fly, right? I'm gonna have a bit of a fun with your horns here. As he goes on and says, I'm proud of my Tenko heritage. Don't go trampling on it like that, you insensitive jerk. But no, Banner's got a good point here. Like, shouldn't can't be able to fly. Like, and he got that boost from Nico, so maybe that's something that's going to come up later on in the series, where it's like, oh, he got that boost from Nico. Now he should be able to unlock his true powers and be able to fly himself. So this is where Ban says, well, for all your Tengo pride, you don't got the Tengo nose to go with it. So yeah, basically arguing of like, Khan doesn't look all that Tengo, and Khan's proud of his Tengo heritage, and this is where Mirio and Nico are just there, like, being like the parents of the group, being like, oh, we can't deal with this right now. Cabin fever will do this, I guess. This house has turned into a sketchy neighborhood. Yeah, you have to wonder, like, what the neighbors actually think of this house that they're actually staying in right now, and, like, all this crazy stuff going on all around them. Like, how are the neighbors going to respond to this? So after a little interlude between Ban and Khan, we cut back over to Wolf and Nemu, where she says, I gave a lot of thought. Keigo realizes how weak he is, and he's trying to bet himself, but I'm a weak person too. I wrestled with feelings of inferiority compared to my mom and compared to Nico, which again is true. Like, Nemu has been one of the more insecure characters in the series. Like, when she started off, like, very insecure, very, like, shy, literally starting off with the series, like, not being able to come into the Morihito household without even turning into a cat. Like, it took a lot of courage to actually just get her to be herself, to be inside the house, and it took a lot of steps. But now she's very much capable of going to that house and interacting with everyone, no problem. But still, beginning of the series, she was weak compared to anyone else in the series, and the growth that she's had over the series has been pretty spectacular. She's not that good at spells. A part of her wanted someone to protect her poor feeble self, and I do like that Nemu has actually acknowledged about this. Like, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the most skilled, and I do actually need someone as kind of like my rock to kind of be attached to, and be someone there that I can always rely on, which is obviously Keigo in this case, and that I think is why is why she was attracted to Wolf's strength as well, because Wolf, like, showed her, like, the kind of person that she wishes she could be, a strong, capable person who's not afraid to challenge things that go against her perception or her beliefs. But that's not the right solution she needs right now. She wants to become strong enough to protect the one that she cares about, and she feels like she cares more about Keigo than Wolf, because in her eyes, she sees Keigo as like this kindred spirit, as like two weak people who rely on the strength of others rather than their own strength, and she wants to share her life with someone who will grow and get stronger with her. And as Wolf is hearing all of this, you kind of like get the feeling like he gives the stoic look, but at the same time he's probably thinking like, yeah, this is kind of like what I expected. I expected this to be the outcome of this conversation, and I've just come here to clarify that this is what it's going to be. I've basically lost to Keigo at this point. And again, I feel like Wolf is eventually going to be separated from Keigo, so he can be his own person. So that it's not a case of like Nemu feeling insecure about trying to date Keigo, knowing that Wolf's inside of him. I feel like that's what's going to happen at some point, so that they can actually have that relationship with each other. But yeah, bottom line is that Wolf kind of already had an inkling that this was what was going to happen. And as Nemu apologizes, Wolf says to her like, "No, don't apologize. You know, it's the first time I've ever hated my strength." So, a little bit of character development for Wolf, like, now. Like, he's always been like this brute force, like, you want to fight me, you want to fight me, you want to fight me. And now that he's actually experienced feelings that are different from like actual fighting, like romantic feelings, and to see him being rejected like that, it's like, God damn, I really wish I wasn't as strong as I was, because I would have won against Keigo at this point. But yeah, Nemu thanks him that she's flattered that he feels that way, and Wolf is just there like, yeah, he's not showing it, but it's clearly affected him emotionally. Like, why did I have to lose to Keigo? But he's not going to show it. He's kind of like got that look on his face, like, yeah, I want to show it, but at the same time, I can't show it because I'm meant to be the stronger version of Keigo. So at this point, it's like, it's okay, I'm feeling good now that that's all cleared up. But this is the point where you have to tell him, like, I can't interfere in any way. you have to tell Keigo exactly how he feels. So as Keigo comes out of the wolf form and he sees the note that Wolf left to him, like, oh, you've got to meet up with Nemu. You've got to, like, I feel like at this point, Wolf should have said, Nemu has something important to tell you. Go and meet her in person. And don't I feel like, yeah, Wolf this is really what should have been the note to Keigo. Like, Keigo, Nemu's got something important to tell you. Go and talk to her, but don't jump to conclusions and listen exactly to what she has to say, because it's something that she feels about you in the same way you feel about her. I feel like Wolf should have just said that right there. I mean, that would have kind of like ruined like the confession of Nemu. But at this point, he would have been like, you know what, screw it. This guy is so dense that I'm just going to have to spell it out for him. That's something that I feel like Wolf would have actually said. So yeah, So yeah, at this point, Keigo is panicking of like, oh, feeling good now, no way. Like, what does any of this mean? He never leaves me notes that actually make sense. And I feel like he should really feel like, okay, this is actually something important here. So yeah, he goes on to say like he saw Nemu. Did what he meant to do, and now he feels good. Don't tell me that those two are. So like he's getting like the wrong end of the conversation of like, oh, Wolf confessed to Nemu, Nemu accepts, and now they're in a relationship. Like, no, you idiot, just go and talk to her! But yeah, she gives him a text, and they had something important to discuss. So they met and talked, and he realised that they just couldn't go on like they were, and had to speak up and tell him what I really feel and who I really love. And of course, like, he's gonna take it, like, he takes it as like, oh, Nemu's confessed to Wolf, and she's telling me that she confessed to Wolf. Like, no, you idiot! Like, this is why Wolf should have said, go and talk to Nemu in person. Don't do it over text. Talk to her in person. But of course, who should really up? So like, she's telling everybody, like, you idiots, just go and talk to each other in person right now. So yeah, Keigo's taking it the wrong end of the stick. Like, she's obviously in love with Wolf, so I've lost now. So it makes sense. No, dang it. And yeah, Nemu's like, oh my god, I said it, I finally confessed to it, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get the reply of Keigo now. And this where Keigo gives like the critical of like, okay, I understand your feelings, but did you really need to tell me that? Like, you idiot Keigo! You idiot Keigo! And I think Wolf's like just cursing right now. You idiot! Go and talk to her in person! Which is probably what they're going to do on the boat anyway. But yeah, Nemu says like, what, are you kidding me? To be honest, it's like TMI. I really didn't need to know that, but I guess you felt I deserve to know for whatever it, like, so she's reading the text from Keigo, which is basically saying like, oh, I understand you're in love with Wolf, like, this is the thing that she's getting at here. Seriously, did he really just send this to me after I worked up the courage to confess my feelings? What is wrong with him? So like, she's like, oh, fine then, you jerk, I don't even care about you. Like, oh my god, like, you know where this is gonna go. Like, this is the classic case of like miscommunication. They're gonna get on the boat, Wolf's gonna come out and be like, why did that idiot do that? Like, give me that, like, I'm gonna write it down like, Nemu is in love with you, Keigo, you friggin' idiot. Like, that's probably what he's going to put down, like, in a text the next time he actually comes out. So now we get to the final scene of the chapter where it's the next day. It's after everyone's been like, okay, this is all that's going to lay down. We need Nemu, Nico, Charmy, and Momo to be part of this team so that we can infiltrate the ship. So that's why we've asked all 4 of you witches to be present today. And this is something that I didn't bring up last time, but this is, I believe, the first time that we've ever had, like, Nemu, Charmy, and Nico all in the same scene together. Like, this is the first time, like, we're actually going to get interactions, but correct me if I'm wrong, but this is probably, like, I believe, like, the first proper interactions we're going to get with Nemu and Charmy throughout the whole series, which is something that's been in the waiting for far too long now. So yeah, they need to discuss need to discuss the 4 of you to pair up with us familiars and infiltrate the ship. So Mojito came up with the plan with like what I said. Nico's gonna go with Mojito. That makes sense. Nemu's gonna go with Keigo. That makes sense until they made this miscommunication, which is now gonna mess with this plan. Charmy's gonna go with Mirio again. That kind of makes sense, but like I said, like, did they really have that big of a connection with each other? And Moma is going to go with Khan and Ban, which, okay, this was the one that I was like, okay, I would have expected Ban to go with Morihito and Nico, considering Ban is like more connected with Nico and therefore being one to protect her, to be wanting to protect her more. He doesn't even know, Morihito says, I don't know why you would, but if anyone disagrees, raise your hand. And everyone except Momoha, Charmy, and Nico are the ones that actually raised their hands. So Khan is against going with Momochi and Ban. And vice versa. Ban's against going with Momochi and Khan. Keigo and Nemu are obviously against going with each other. And Miryu's surprisingly not against going with Charmy. Like, but again, Mirio was probably like, I don't really have a connection with Charmy, so I don't know how well we would cooperate with each other. Like, that's probably like his logic behind this. Like, they don't really have that big of a connection, so it's like, will we be able to really work as well together? But yeah, Morihito was like, practically all of you. Why? What's wrong with the pairs I came up with? Theoretically, nothing, Morihito. You did exactly what I think everyone was expecting. It's just circumstances surrounding everything have just been like, oh my god, like, why did it have to come to this? Especially with Nemu and Keigo. But you did nothing wrong with those pairings. And why does it suddenly feel so awkward here? What happened? Something. What did I just tell you, damn it? And so the pairings have to be redoing from scratch. What will happen to the mission now? So yeah, it's tough for Morihito. Always tough going for him to go around. That's where the chapter ends. So yeah, like I said, Morihito did nothing wrong with those pairings. It's just other circumstances. But yeah, this is again like another setup chapter 4 when we get to like the big arc with them being actually on the ship. Now, like I said, we now know what Nemu and Keigo's issues are. We need to know, like, okay, what are Ban and Momoha and Khan's like situation? What is going on with them, and what is going on with Charmy and Mirio? Like I said, with Mirio, I feel like it's a case of like I don't really have much of a connection with her, so I don't know how well we'll bounce off each other. But the one that I'm most interested in, like Khan, Ban, and Mo, like what is going? Okay, no. Now I get it. Now I understand. I'm foolish enough, like, because they had that argument during that game, like during that game earlier on in the chapter, like they had that argument over that game, and they were arguing about Ban was making fun of Khan's Tengu heritage, and Khan was like, okay, I'm gonna have some fun with you. So yeah, I kind of get now why they refusing to go with each other. But yeah. So yeah, we get that with them, but like Mirio and Charmy, like really, I am like, unless like I said, it really is just that case of like Mirio has has practically no connection with Charmy, so he doesn't know how well she'll work off of him. So yeah, I really want that to be like explained, like what Mirio's disagreement of going with Charmy is, but that's something we'll just have to wait and see. And yeah, this has been like these last few chapters just been like set up for the boat arc, and like I said, hopefully the Warlocks have been smart and being like, okay, yeah, they're gonna spit the bone out before they actually get there, before they actually get to the ship. But that's something we'll just have to wait and see. So anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lasherluke signing off. But before I go, I want to know, like, what have been some of your highlights for the series for this year? Obviously, the highlights have been like part 3 just being like a complete stomp of most of part 2 in a sense. Because let's be honest, like the last few months of part 2 have been like some of the biggest highs, some of the lowest lows. It's just been kind of like a roller, because like this has just been consistent. So yeah. Those are my takes on like Witch Watch in 2025. What I hope for 2026 is basically by the end of 2026, I want Nico to be taken over and possessed by Juru, and then whole of 2027 is just the battle between Juru, Nico, and everyone else, and then wrapping up in 2028. I feel like 2028 is going to be like the most logistical year for the series to wrap up. But again, that's something we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, this will be Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys.